Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, have carefully cultivated a new life in the United States after stepping away from their roles as senior members of the British royal family. Since 2020, they've been raising their two children, Prince Archie and Princess Lilibet, in the sun-kissed privacy of California. The couple has made it clear that their focus is on providing a stable, grounded upbringing for their children, away from the relentless glare of the media spotlight that often defines royal life. While they remain tight-lipped about many details of their personal lives, questions about the children's future education have inevitably started to surface. With both parents deeply connected to the UK, the possibility of British schooling being a part of their children's future is an intriguing one. Although no official statement has been made, some royal observers and former aides have speculated that Prince Harry and Meghan could eventually consider British education for their kids, once they are older and more independent. Raising Archie and Lilibet, a life away from the spotlight. Prince Archie Harrison, born on May 6, 2019, arrived into the world in London, amidst the bustling energy of the British capital. But just a year after his birth, his parents made the life-altering decision to step back from their senior royal duties. The family packed up their lives and first moved to Canada, before eventually settling in the serene town of Montecito, California. It was in this peaceful corner of the world that Meghan gave birth to their daughter, Princess Lilibet Diana, on June 4, 2021. Lilibet, unlike her brother, has never lived in the UK, and thus has known only the quiet, close-knit life that her parents have worked hard to create for her. Since their move, Harry and Meghan have remained fiercely protective of their children's privacy. The couple has emphasized in interviews that one of the driving forces behind their decision to relocate was to shield their family from the constant media scrutiny that follows royal figures in the UK. In California, they live in a private residence, away from prying eyes. Still, they are far from being secluded from the world. Their Archwell Foundation, which champions a variety of charitable causes, has kept them engaged in media projects and public service. The voice of a former royal aide, education and possibilities. Grant Harold, a former royal butler who worked under King Charles III when he was still Prince of Wales, recently weighed in on the topic of Archie and Lilibet's potential education in the UK. Harold, speaking in an interview with the educational platform Study Dog, suggested that while the children may be raised in the US, for the time being, it wouldn't be out of the question for Prince Harry to one day consider offering them the chance to study in Britain. While Harold's thoughts were purely personal and not an official statement from the Sussexes, his insights reflect long-standing royal patterns. In his view, Harry could look to provide Archie and Lilibet with a taste of British schooling as they grow older. Whether through a gap year, summer programs, or even university studies, Harold speculated that British education might become a consideration. However, he also noted that the decision would hinge on the dynamics of the family and the children's own interests at the time. It's likely that Harry and Meghan will make such decisions based on what feels right for their children, without being swayed by external pressures. Meghan's reflections on raising children in the UK. Meghan Markle has never been shy about discussing the challenges she faced under the intense media scrutiny that came with being a part of the British royal family. In a 2022 interview with The Cut, Meghan opened up about the constant press intrusion that followed her every move in the UK, even during simple, everyday moments like picking up her child from school. It was during these moments of public exposure that she realized the difficulty of shielding a child's privacy in a society where royal families are almost always in the public eye. The couple's decision to raise their children outside of that environment is rooted in a desire to give them a sense of normalcy. Meghan's experiences in the UK, where she found herself constantly under the microscope, helped shape her perspective on what was best for Archie and Lilibet. By choosing California, the Sussexes have prioritized peace, well-being, and the chance for their children to grow up in a more relaxed, less scrutinized environment. Since moving to the United States, Harry and Meghan have worked tirelessly to create a lifestyle that centers on their values. While they have not shied away from their public roles, they have remained selective about what they share. The couple has kept much of their family life private, with only occasional glimpses into their world, emphasizing their commitment to keeping their children's lives as free from the media circus as possible. the international education path, a look toward the future. While Prince Archie and Princess Lilibet are currently growing up in the U.S., their future educational paths are still an open question. It is not unusual for children from internationally connected families to pursue their studies abroad. For families like the Sussexes, who have ties to multiple countries, the opportunity to explore education in the UK would be both a natural and exciting option. If Harry and Meghan do choose to offer their children a taste of British education, they would be following in the footsteps of many royal children who have spent time studying overseas. British universities such as Oxford, Cambridge, and Imperial College London continue to draw students from all corners of the globe, including the children of prominent families. The same goes for shorter-term programs like summer schools or cultural exchange programs, which can offer a unique blend of academic enrichment and personal growth. These opportunities could allow Archie and Lilibet to engage with British culture and education without needing to relocate permanently. At present, however, there has been no official word from Harry and Meghan regarding their plans for their children's future education. The couple has kept such details close to their chest, likely because their focus right now remains on providing their children with the most fulfilling and grounded upbringing possible. Family values at the heart of the decision. When discussing the future of their children's education, it's important to remember that the Sussexes' decision-making will likely be guided by personal, practical, and educational factors, rather than public opinion. Media coverage often casts a shadow on their relationship with the royal family, but when it comes to their children, Harry and Meghan are focused on what's best for their family, not the expectations placed on them by outsiders. Through interviews and his memoir, Spare, Prince Harry has expressed his deep desire to create a life for his children that balances tradition with personal freedom. He wants them to have the ability to make choices for themselves, something he felt he was denied as a child within the rigid confines of royal life. This mindset suggests that, when the time comes, decisions about their education will be made with great care, reflecting the Sussexes' core values of individual freedom and the well-being of their children. The road ahead, a path guided by family and flexibility. For now, Prince Archie and Princess Lilibet are growing up in California, and there's no clear indication that their education will take them anywhere else just yet. But with their mixed American and British heritage, and parents who are committed to both global causes and personal development, it's possible that they will one day experience education on both sides of the Atlantic. Whether that comes in the form of university studies in the UK, a few summers spent at British academic programs, or simply cultural exchanges, the possibilities are wide open. For now, though, Harry and Meghan are focused on providing their children with a stable, loving environment where they can thrive. The future remains uncertain, but one thing is clear. Whatever choices the Sussexes make will be made with their children's well-being at the forefront. A new kind of royal education, freedom, opportunity, and global perspectives. As Archie and Lilibet grow, their parents' ambitions for their education will likely evolve. Prince Harry and Meghan have always been vocal about wanting to offer their children a life that isn't bound by tradition or expectation. They've crafted a family lifestyle that balances their royal heritage with a modern, more flexible way of living. This includes how they approach the question of education, which will undoubtedly be influenced by their core values of individuality, independence, and opportunity. Unlike the traditional royal path, where British schools, particularly boarding schools, have long been the norm, the Sussexes seem determined to allow their children the flexibility to choose their own academic journey. Whether that includes a future education in the UK or other parts of the world, their approach to schooling will likely be different from the one Harry himself followed. In his memoir, Spare, he revealed the pressures he faced in his early life, constantly living under the watchful eyes of the media and the public. His desire to give Archie and Lilibet a sense of freedom from such pressures has already been a central part of the couple's parenting philosophy. Their choice to raise their children away from the UK's intense media environment shows a conscious decision to protect their children's childhoods from the spotlight. However, this doesn't mean that the children will be completely isolated from the royal world. As they grow older, they will likely be introduced to various aspects of royal life, perhaps during trips to the UK or through more public engagements with their family. But the way they are brought up, free to explore, learn, and develop without the constant pressure of being in the public eye, will undoubtedly shape who they become. The power of choice. What's best for Archie and Lilibet? One of the most significant aspects of Prince Harry and Meghan's approach to their children's upbringing is the freedom they are providing them. This is a concept that stands in stark contrast to Harry's own childhood, where choices were often made for him based on tradition and royal duty. He's openly discussed how, as a child, he was pushed into roles and responsibilities without ever really having the option to choose for himself. By contrast, Harry and Meghan want their children to have the opportunity to choose their own paths, whether in education, career, or personal development. While the royal family has traditionally followed a specific path when it comes to education, the Sussexes' choice to live in California signifies a broader, more inclusive worldview. The possibilities for Archie and Lilibet to attend an international school, study abroad, or even explore careers that may not traditionally align with royal expectations are very much on the table. Their upbringing is centered on the idea that they can create their own identities and futures, without being confined by the rules that have governed the lives of previous generations. When it comes to education, the flexibility afforded by living in the United States will also open up many doors. The U.S. is home to a wealth of renowned academic institutions, many of which are highly diverse and progressive. At the same time, the idea of sending them to the UK for a summer program or university education is not out of the question, especially as Harry and Meghan consider what will provide their children with the most well-rounded, enriching experiences. But any decision they make will ultimately be based on what feels right for their children at that moment in time. The importance of education in shaping global citizens. One thing that seems clear is that Harry and Meghan are deeply invested in shaping their children's futures in a way that allows them to become global citizens. By exposing them to different cultures, ideas, and experiences, the Sussexes hope to give Archie and Lilibet a broader perspective on the world. Education, for them, isn't just about academics. It's about preparing their children to be open-minded, empathetic, and capable of making a difference in the world. Whether that happens in the UK, the US, or through international experiences, the goal is to equip their children with the tools they need to lead fulfilling lives. Harry and Meghan's approach is about offering Archie and Lilibet the chance to explore a variety of opportunities, both inside and outside of the traditional classroom. It's about giving them the space to discover their passions and interests, rather than forcing them down a specific path. The world is changing rapidly, and the traditional educational models that many royal families followed may not be the best fit for future generations. Instead, Harry and Meghan seem to be creating a more holistic approach to education, one that values personal growth, global awareness, and the freedom to chart one's own course. The Sussex family's legacy, a commitment to change. At the heart of Prince Harry and Meghan's decision to raise their children outside the traditional royal framework is a commitment to creating change. They have always spoken about wanting to do things differently, whether in their personal lives, charitable work, or public roles. Their decision to move to California and raise their children there is just one part of this larger vision. They are committed to breaking away from the constraints of royal expectations and instead forging a path that prioritizes individual choice, mental health, and privacy. This commitment to change also extends to the legacy they want to leave for their children. By stepping away from the public eye and focusing on their family's well-being, they are setting a precedent for future generations of royals. The idea that they could, one day, choose an educational path that takes them outside the traditional royal structure is just one example of how Harry and Meghan are challenging conventions. They are proving that royalty doesn't have to be synonymous with a rigid, predetermined life. Instead, it can be about embracing the possibility of reinvention and evolving with the times. A look ahead. What will the future hold? As the years pass and Archie and Lilibet continue to grow, it's exciting to imagine what their futures might look like. It's possible that they will continue to be raised in California, attending school in the US, or perhaps their parents will choose to send them to study in the UK or elsewhere. The beauty of the Sussex family's approach is that the decision will be made with the children's best interests at heart. They will have the freedom to choose, the world will be their oyster, and their parents will be there to guide them every step of the way. For now, the Sussexes are focused on raising their children in an environment that prioritizes love, security, and privacy. Their journey is just beginning, and there's no telling where it will lead. But one thing is for sure. Whatever decisions Harry and Meghan make will be deeply rooted in their desire to give Archie and Lilibet the chance to live authentic, fulfilling lives on their own terms. And in a world that often values tradition over individuality, this approach is a refreshing reminder that there is no one right way to live, and no single path that must be followed. The future is wide open for the Duke and Duchess of Sussex and their children, and that sense of possibility is exactly what Harry and Meghan want to pass on to the next generation.